Hello everyone, welcome to our fifth session on this lecture series on ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, let's begin our lecture with a quick recap of what we have done in the previous lecture. First we discussed this question in detail, right? And I advised you that not always you can write 150 words. Please focus on writing 110 to 130 words so that you can write good quality or at least average quality answers for all the questions. Okay, then we went on this inculcation of values by family. What are the methods by which a family inculcates value in their child? Okay, there are these 6 methods. We have discussed them in detail. Okay, then we saw how the family's nature is changing, right? We are moving more to materialism, okay, and we are moving more towards nuclear families. And what is the effect of this? Okay, we saw that. Okay, and how it affects the value generation in the child, we also saw that. Okay, like children are becoming closer to their mates. Okay, they are becoming closer to mobiles, TV. Okay, there is less and less activity outside the home, more activity inside the home. Okay, socialization skills will be decreasing for such people, definitely. Okay, when they grow up they will be facing difficulty in judging people's behavior. All right. Okay, then we saw the role of educational institutions like school, colleges and society. Okay, here we first discussed about value education, what it is, what do we mean by value education. Okay, then we saw how it is a need of the democratic society. Okay, then we read about constitutional morality. Like in our constitution, let's take our constitution for an example. Rule of law. Okay, every value that is given in preamble, such things are what? They are the morals that are given by the constitution to its citizens, right? Then we saw that we need to develop a system of reward and punishment. Okay, but that system should be fair. Okay, I have explained this, how it should be fair. Okay, then we need to embrace the diversity. How? Like the term I discussed, xenophobic tendencies, they should be removed. Okay, we should be embracing diversity, like immigrants, like people of different cultures. All right, then we move on to the crisis that is currently happening in the Indian society. What type of crisis that is happening? Let's say at individual level we saw, okay, people are moving more towards materialism, towards asking rights more rather than following the duties that are given to them. Okay, at social level we saw that there is a collective consciousness is missing. Okay, people keep standing but they don't help during a road accident or something. Although there is another reason for it, that people are afraid that they will be harassed, but certainly many people don't help because they are not affected by it personally. Okay, then there are a lot of things like it's spoiling relations, like adultery, infidelity. Okay, so collective commitment towards the goal of improving society is slowly decreasing because of this, because collective fraternity, the value which is highlighted here is fraternity, brotherhood. This is missing in many people. I'm not saying in everybody, but in many people. Okay, but there are also very helpful people too. Okay, I'm not generalizing it, but this is happening. That is why we are seeing so many riots. Okay, communal riots, right? So why is that happening? Maybe some people are fueling it for political gains, but still it is happening or not, right? Okay, lastly we saw, okay, second last, sorry, not last, cultural level. Here we saw the religion is being ritualized, the feeling behind it is being replaced by actions, only actions. Okay, like we talked about many visurgence that happen, and there is a lack of environmental ethics, awareness of environmental ethics. Okay, then lastly at intellectual level, okay, intellectual level, okay, we are blindly following, okay, anything that is being said. So basically scientific temper is not being developed, okay. So basically people are becoming knowledgeable but they are not becoming educated, that is values are missing, okay. And in the end we saw the dimensions of ethics, right? Why we need to study, basically it's a theory that helps in guiding, okay, how to practice moral judgment. There are 4 types of it: meta ethics, descriptive ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics. Okay, we have discussed amply about the types of it, and normative ethics has deontological uh, deontological way, okay, deontological theory basically inside it, under normative ethics. Then we have virtue ethics, then we have teleological or utilitarian ethics, okay, we discussed about that. Then we discussed about applied ethics in detail, okay. So that was all for the recap in the last session. Let's move on to the question that was given at the end of the lecture. I really hope you guys have written some answer for it, or at least thought about it, because we are going to discuss it in detail, but I hope if you have written it, you will be better able to relate and understand, okay. So I really hope you have written this. Okay, let's start. Let us just first read the question. If a country is to be corruption free, okay, that is one keyword, and become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel there are 3 key societal members who can make a difference. They are father, mother, and the teacher. This was asked in mains 2017. So we shall be looking at, basically we will be solving a previous year question here. Okay, so basically we will follow the same structure: intro, body, conclusion, IBC structure, okay. In intro you can start with a basic thing also, right? Like what? These 3 are important socializing agent in our life, okay. Mother, or you can write the father, mother, and the teacher are important socialization agents in our life, okay. That is a basic statement, and I would advise that don't write this, okay. Why? Because this is a very basic statement and a general statement, and many people are going to write something like this only. So what can we do? You can add something at the end of that sentence by making it more concrete. How? You can say that these 3 are important socializing agents in our life, okay. 3 important socializing agents in our life, okay, that teach us values. Like, you can write anything here. Let's see. So since it is saying corruption free and a beautiful corruption free country and a nation of beautiful minds, so we will relate values that are related with corruption: integrity, honesty, and then we can mention some values which are related with beautiful mind, like fraternity, because it is talking about nation, right? So fraternity, brotherhood, selflessness. So if you write the answer in this way, the examiner clearly understands that you have understood the question, because you have given the correct values, okay. So in introduction, please remember, in introduction, in essay and in GS answers, you need to show that you have understood the question, okay. Alright, let's move forward. So this is the simple introduction which can be written in just 2 lines, but you have to remember that you need to include some concrete thing in it, so you don't make it a very generic answer. Coming to the body, I believe that it is a very straightforward question, and you can simply start with, basically let's say you can have 3 paragraphs, wherein you discuss about mother, father and the teacher and the values they give. Alright, so what do we discuss about? We discuss about the role, the values they give and examples. Okay, so what is the role? First we discuss about the mother. Okay, what do you learn from your mother? Basically, if we think about just basic things, okay, love, compassion, what else? Let's say about gender justice. Okay, I think one more thing can be added here, sacrifice. See, these are the things which will we instantly connect with mother. Okay, then what are the examples? Examples here you can write two examples which we have discussed also. One is about Mahatma Gandhi. He said that he got the spirituality quotient or the value of spirituality from his mother. Okay, and then he applied it in every part of his own life. Okay, which is why he was such a big proponent of non-violence. Here also you can take an example of MS Swaminathan, which we also discussed in class, that his parents gave him, basically since they were part of Quit India movement, they gave him values of bravery, okay, sacrifice, okay, basically a sense of right and wrong. Okay, so how does a mother teach us this? Okay, then you can give examples. Okay, the how a part is not asked in the answer, I just discussed it because, okay, I'll just discuss it because it might help you in understanding. So herein I have discussed in class also that a mother teaches you this by action. Father, everybody teaches you by action. Okay, because the children learn more by your actions. So if a mother wakes up early morning, cooks for you, right, gives you lunch, everything, gets you ready for going to the school, okay, and even after you grow up she takes care of you, what is this? It is love and compassion only, right? Then you see that sometimes when some other kid is hurt in a park, okay, she will also try to help him or her, the kid who is hurt. Okay, if about gender justice, like how to treat, if there is a if you have a, let's say you have a sister sibling, okay, then how she treats her, okay, how she teaches her to be, in a relationship, okay, how to stand for yourself. Such things are generally taught by the mother. Okay, these are, please remember, these are general things. You might be saying, no, a father can also teach all this. Yes, but these are all general things and we have to be focused on the average. Average means average of life. If we if we start thinking or writing about the exceptions, then the answer will become unnecessarily convoluted. It will become complex because there are exceptions every time. But generally you can write this also, that generally mother teaches such and such values by her actions, and we can have these examples as Gandhiji told us and MS Swaminathan told us. Okay, then we come to father. Let's go to the next slide only. If we come to the father, okay, what are the values that can be learned from him? Can you think about anything? Responsibility, right? What else? Leadership, okay, again gender justice or gender sensitivity, okay. See, sometimes absence of this is also, detrimental to the development of child's value. Why? Because as we have seen, if a father is patriarchal, okay, same thing will be learned by the child and that child will again become patriarchal. Okay, so that is why, yeah, we have to include this in the conclusion also, just one line, that such things are positive examples of value that can be inculcated by these three socializing agents. but their absence will lead to not inculcation of these values, sorry, non inculcation of these values in the child. So that is why these three factors are really important, okay, in a for a corruption free nation and nation of beautiful minds. So these values are taught by the father generally in Indian setup, right? So what examples can we have? Here examples, one of the good examples is Jawaharlal Nehru writing letters from jail to his daughter Indira Gandhi. Okay, wherein he talked about a lot of things, personal things also, and also taught her about India in general. Okay, but please remember, this is not, I'm not saying that responsibility and leadership can only be taught by the father, but this is how things are there in the practical life, because father is the one, because see, since it's our is a patriarchal society, right? So mostly leadership roles are thrusted and given to the male, the male of the family. How gender sensitivity? If there is a sibling in your house, okay, how female sibling, if you have a female sibling or you are yourself a female, so how does a father, treats you? That will, in the formative years of life, like 5 to 15, after which you start going outside, then you learn how the world actually works. But till these years, these formative years, you will learn from whom? Father or mother, right? So, and there only your growth happens. Okay, actual growth, your mental setup is made. After that, changing the behavior becomes quite difficult. Okay, your core values develop. If we come to the role of the teacher, what can the teacher teach us? Just think back to your school. Okay, so see, the teacher tells you to work in groups or teaches you to work in groups, work in pairs, right? So this teaches you teamwork, है ना? Right? Then what else? You are taught sorry, under the father or mother or the teacher, we are going to segregate or separate that on the basis of the maximum behavior which happens. Okay, what else? Scientific temper, how to think critically, how, to support your arguments with facts. All of these are taught by what or whom? Teacher, right? Like we can take an example, Super 30, Anand Kumar. Okay, what else? Chanakya, the way he taught governance, okay, not just to Chandragupta Maurya, but to now the whole country. Okay, so these are the values and these are the examples. Okay, so coming to the conclusion, we can relate this answer to the societal issues or value crisis that is happening. Okay, then we can say that such problems that India is facing right now can be saved or can be reduced in the future by these three factors, societal factors. Okay, what are the problems that you can quote here? Can you think of anything? Like our social consciousness, which we talked about, is decreasing. Okay, intolerance is increasing. Corruption, okay, such things are increasing, right? So basically these values, the values which we discussed just now, which are incorporated by whom? Socializing agents. If they are done in the right way for the future generation, it will help in resolving what? The value crisis that is going on in the Indian society. Okay, so when these societal agents do their job, or the role collectively, it will lead to beautiful minds. So in this way you can end your answer, and you can also draw the Venn diagram which I drew earlier. You can say when they do their job collectively and do it well, it will lead to beautiful minds. Okay, you can say mother's values, teacher's values, father's values. Okay, so beautiful minds. Result will be beautiful mind. Okay, so just to summarize, first you write the introduction by inserting values, okay, which can be helpful and which are taught by these three agents. Then you write 3 paragraphs in the body, mother, father, and one for teacher. Then in the conclusion you just conclude that the problems that are being faced right now can be, or in the India can be saved from the problems that it is facing right now by right value inculcation by these 3 socializing agents. That's it. Okay, so you have proved it. You have proved that father, mother, and the teacher have a critical role to make India corruption free and a nation of beautiful minds. That's it. Okay, chalo, let's come to the, okay, so these are the diagrams from the past lecture which you can use. Okay, this is how you can make notes. Okay, you can pause the screen, pause the video and take a screenshot if you want. You will be given, I believe, PPT and PDF both. Okay, so you can take it out from there also. Okay, so I think that you will get enough content from this. Okay, so what is the outline for this session, what we are going to discuss? Sorry. In this session we are going to discuss about attitude, which is our second unit. We have finished with the first unit in the last lecture. Okay, we'll discuss about what is attitude, okay, what is the content of attitude, then the functions. Although this has not yet been asked in the exam, so we'll pay a good attention to it. Okay, then we'll see the relation between attitude and behavior, cognitive dissonance, and so on. And if the time permits, we'll also see about types of attitude. Okay, all right, let's begin. So let's start with the lecture now. Many of our problems stem from the attitudes, like putting ourselves first at all costs. Okay, this was said by the Dalai Lama, and this is how our attitude is nowadays. That is why there is such a crisis in values in the society. Okay, so with this attitude, let me say, we shall begin our topic on attitude. Okay, so many of our problems stem from attitudes, like putting ourselves first at all cost. So attitude is behavior which affects behavior, okay, rather. Okay, all right, so let's start. Before we start, another 2 small examples which would make you understand that we are not studying what we actually do in, in usual language. We say this girl has a lot of attitude or this boy has a lot of attitude. We are trying to understand attitude as a concept. Okay, so attitude makes a big difference. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference in life. Okay, this is how important it is. Okay, so this is also attitude. Impossible, I am possible. Okay, you will remove this and you will make it possible. So you can relate this with our exam itself, like UPSC exam or any other exam which you are preparing for simultaneously, if you are. Okay, so you need to have an attitude that you can make things possible. Okay, this is very famous, right? You must have heard about this. Even the impossible says I am possible, right? Okay, so what is it? So basically attitude is a tendency to act. Okay, it's a tendency to act towards a certain thing. Why I'm saying this as a tendency? Because by behavior, when you turn it into behavior, it might be something else. You might not act in the way you wanted to. Basically, like in Samaritan, let's take an example of a Samaritan. Okay, some people do help, some people don't help. Okay, like that Nirbhaya case. Okay, many people just saw them lying on the road, on the side of the road, and went away. So many people might have had a attitude to help, but due to some conditions, due to some situation in their mind or something or the other, they did not help. Okay, then somebody did help, that is also there. So somebody overcome the situation and helped. Okay, so basically it is a tendency to think, okay, feel and act towards a particular object or class of people, place or an event. Basically it's your tendency of reaction, that how you might act, tendency of a reaction, which is nothing but behavior. So you might act this way, it's not necessary that you will, please remember that. Okay, so that attitude can be positive, negative or neutral. So for example, we can take example of elections. Positive attitude can be, oh yes, I can do something, let me vote. Okay, you will get up with cheerfulness on that day and you will go and cast your vote, right? Negative attitude towards election can be, nothing matters, all are the same, my one vote won't make difference. Okay, now I am not saying anything right or wrong here, I am not giving value to it, I am not passing a value judgment, I am just telling you that this is an example. Neutral, some people are indifferent. Okay, they don't care, they have decided not to care about it. Okay, so in the neutral one they don't care, in these two they do care, and that is why there is a positive reaction to it, there is a negative reaction to it. In the neutral one they do not care about it. Okay, please okay, yeah, one thing in here, in the neutral category, don't confuse this with ambivalent, because if a person is ambivalent they are confused. Here you cannot decide. If the person is ambivalent, they are swinging like a pendulum between yes and no. They cannot decide. Here you have decided that you are neutral. Here you have decided that you have a negative attitude towards it. Here you have decided that you have a positive attitude towards it. Okay, so attitude is tendency. Okay, please remember that. It's not the action, it's the tendency. It's how you might react. Okay. Okay, so one example which we can take is, some people have a tendency to steal things or lie. Okay, they stop doing that when they grow up. Okay, why? Because the cost becomes too high. When they are in childhood, they might just get some punishment, small punishment, okay, or might get basically grounded, like no basically going out with friends for a week or something. Okay, so the cost increases. That is why they stop stealing or lying when they grow up, but still they would, but not at the amount when they were doing it in childhood. Okay, so yeah, we were at ambivalent. Okay, so here you cannot decide. Okay, like let me give you an example. Over here you have an employee who is dishonest but very efficient but dishonest. So here you are constantly in ambivalence, like that person is doing work, how do I justify? Okay, but the person is also dishonest, I cannot fire him just because he is a dishonest person, but they are doing the work properly. So this is also a ambivalent situation where you cannot actually decide. You might be able to decide when they do something really something they lie about something very big. Okay, then you might be able to decide that no, now the work efficiency has decreased in value in front of dishonesty. Okay, so you will be confused about what to do. So ambivalence is confusion, it's not being neutral, please remember that. Okay, so please remember also ki it is always targeted, it is always about something, it is always a reaction to a stimuli. Stimuli here is elections, your reaction to it is positive, negative or neutral. All right, coming to the features, see, attitude helps you understand yourself, that if you are, let's say, if you are patriarchal, how would you come to know that if a woman is earning equal to you in the same job, if you are fine with it, you have a positive attitude towards gender parity and gender equal pay to according to gender, sorry, equal pay to all genders. Okay, Then you come to know about yourself. And similarly, if you observe this behavior in others, like in informal discussion between your friends, you see that your friend is actually mocking someone who is actually earning good, and she's a female, and the person is a female. So you'll come to know about the attitude of the person. Okay, they are explicit, also they are implicit. Explicit means external events form them, okay, or recent events basically. Okay, what happens is, let's say you were running early morning and a dog started chasing you, okay, very badly. So you will form a negative attitude towards dogs, stray dogs especially, okay, and that is the first time if it happened with you. So what you will do, you will form an attitude wherein you have a negative attitude towards stray dogs. Okay, and but how it will affect your behavior, that if some stray dog is in need of help, you might be thinking that this dog barked at me at that time, let it suffer, something like this. Okay, they can be implicit wherein the past memories affect it, like what, like swimming. If in past you went to a school trip and there you were almost drowned, even in a safe swimming pool, you will form an attitude wherein you are now afraid of swimming. Okay, this happens a lot. Okay, some thinkers, okay, coming to if they are permanent or they are non-permanent. Okay, so some thinkers say obviously that they are permanent, okay, because they affect our habits, they affect our behavior. Okay, so if our behavior is affected, obviously these things are permanent, some say. Okay, some thinkers say that they are tentative, they will change. Okay, like if in the case of swimming, let's take an example that you somehow get a good teacher, okay, who will basically take all the safety precautions. Let's say this person is a friend only, they come to know about your swimming phobia. So what will they do? They might try to help. Okay, they will take you to a small swimming pool and try to help you with the, being not afraid. So these things, if and if the person is successful, you will be now not afraid of swimming, just like that. Okay, so if a new situation comes, your attitude will be replaced. Okay, so from this I think you have understood that it's a reaction to a stimuli, okay, to your external stimuli. Okay, so all right, let's move forward. Now we need to understand what it is not. Okay, what attitude is not. Till now what we saw, what it is and its features, right? Now we need to know what it is not. So we will see what it's not. Arrogance, it's not values. Oh sorry, this came again. It's not the lingo, we have discussed already about the lingo. So it is not arrogance. Attitude versus arrogance. Attitude is having a attitude, okay, having a psychological reaction that I can do it. Even if you are facing a challenge, you can do it. You can prepare well for UPSC exams, you can clear it, okay, with flying colors, with the service you want, with the rank you want. Okay, so this is an attitude which says I can do it. Arrogance is an issue wherein you think that only you can do it. Here a self-inflated sense of ego comes, only you can do it. Okay, like what, only I can drive 100 km/h. Okay, only I am better in my friend group, only I can do this. Okay, that might be factually correct, but that's an attitude which you have which will turn into arrogance. Okay, against values, how attitudes and values are different. We have understood in our snapshot, if you remember, values lead to formation of attitudes. The core values, the values which are repeated a lot of over time, they lead to becoming attitudes. Values, let's say they are quite generic in nature many times. Okay, they are mostly permanent because they are formed over time. Attitudes are concrete, they are not very general. Okay, and obviously they are derived from values. Okay, they are specific in nature. These are some differences. Okay, for example, an organization can have values of coming on time, of paying employees on time. Okay, attitudes can be for people, like if the person is coming on time. Like see, organization's culture can be values, okay, the values organizations follow. Attitude is more of a personal thing, okay, if the person has those values, something like this, okay. So it is different from values, it is different from arrogance, it is different from the lingo. That is when we talk about that person has attitude or this person has attitude, okay, that is different. Attitude is a tendency to act. It's not like if the person is not talking with you properly and that does not mean their attitude, they have an attitude, okay. All right, their behavior, that's the behavior, that's not attitude. Okay, so it is different. Actual psychological concept of attitude is different from the lingo wala attitude. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next part of our lecture. Now we are going to study about the structure or the content of attitude. Okay, this is quite important, so please pay extra attention on this. The CAB, it is known as the CAB model or the ABC model of attitude. Okay, it can be known from any name. So let us understand what are these components. Okay, so if we go by the CAB model, first one is the cognitive part. Okay, this means the knowledge or the belief which you have, okay, right now in your mind. I think you will remember that we have already talked about beliefs, okay, in our earlier lecture. So beliefs, as you know, can be rational, irrational, proved, disproved. Okay, rational, irrational, proved or disproved. Okay, so the knowledge or the belief you have about a certain thing, okay, that is the cognitive part. Then comes the affective part, which is how you feel about something. Okay, how you feel about shoes, some shoes, or how do you feel about caste, how do you feel about reservation, how do you feel about, let's say, Aurangzeb, things like this. Okay, so the emotions and the feeling that you have are part of the affective sub part of attitude. What about behavior? This is the actual tendency which you have to act, which will lead to the actual behavior. Okay, so the tendency to act is this part. Okay, so now let's see by examples. One of the simplest example is, let's say you are afraid of an animal. Let's say it's a snake. What will be the cognitive part? You know that some snakes are poisonous, but you cannot differentiate between them, so you don't know if the snake in front of you is the poisonous one. The affective part is the emotional part. It will be, you will be trembling with fear depending on how much you fear them. What would be the behavioral part? You will keep standing over there, right? No, you will run, or at least you will fast in a fast pace walk away. So the cognitive part is, you know, they are poisonous, okay. Affective part is, you know they are poisonous, so you are fearful of them, so you will tremble with fear or something, okay, you will get nervous. And the behavioral part is, you might run. Now why I am saying is you might run, because as we have read before, situation comes into play. So if you are in a zoo, will you run away? No, because the snake is in a locked cage. If you have a snake catcher with you, will you run away like that? No, you will not. Okay, so this is how situation affects your actual outcome. Okay, so cognitive part is basically an opinion you form about something. Okay, it's an opinion. Okay, you can write this down in a notebook, that it is an opinion you form about something from the information that you have. Okay, feeling, affective part is just simply the feelings and emotions you have, such as, like here, fear. Okay, you might be angry at someone. Okay, so fear, anger, what else? You are happy or you are sad, things like this. This part is wherein you will actually act. Okay, wherein you will actually take some action depending on the situation. Like Gandhi ji took salt march, right? Dandi march. That was the behavioral part. Okay, so this is how you can write about the behavior. Sorry, the content of attitude, not just behavior. All right. So for something which you have a belief about, something which you feel about, and then you act. Okay, let's now draw another take another example. this is about composting. Now this I have made it in a ABC format. So affective, what are the emotions that are related to it? You know that it is important to you. You want to do it because why? Because of the cognitive part that you know it is good for environment. So it is good for environment, that is the cognitive part, that is the belief or knowledge part. Affective part, how do you feel about it? You feel good about it, you want to do it. The behavioral part is whenever you shift to a new home or wherever you are living, you will start composting, or you will start a Facebook group, you will start a WhatsApp group wherein you will teach people about composting and the benefits of it. Okay. Now let's just see how in exam you can draw it. You can draw as the first diagram, okay, like this, or you can draw like this, okay, CAB model, let's say. Okay, so the cognitive part, that is how you think about it or the belief. Then comes the affective part, the emotional part, or how you feel about it. The behavioral part, the tendency which you have to act, okay, how you will act, okay, the tendency to basically act. Okay, the actual thing which you will do will depend on situation. This will be the actual act. Okay, so the actual act depends on attitude plus situation. Now let us take some examples. Okay, we have till now taken example of compost or and a snake. Now let us take another example of, let's say you want to buy a brand new shoe. Okay, let's say you like a brand which is Adidas. Okay, so taking the ABC example, A, B and C, not the CAB, so that you understand it in a different way also. Affective part, affective part is the emotional part. You feel good about these shoes, you like them. Okay, what is the behavioral part? You will buy it obviously. And what is the cognitive part? These are good brands. Okay, this is a good brand, it will survive for long, these will be good for my long runs. Okay, so see, CAB is actually very logical, ABC seems to me a bit illogical. Okay, so that is why I teach in a CAB form. Okay, so now see, you feel good about something. Okay, sorry, you know it is good for you, you feel good about it, so you buy it. Okay, but what is the situation here? If you have sufficient funds, okay, that is the situation. All right, let's take final example. Let's take an example of a actor. Let's say anybody, it can be Amir Khan or Mr. Rajnikant. Okay, so what do you feel about it? Sorry, what is the cognitive part? You know, both of them are good actors. Okay, now I'm taking example of only one person. Okay, let's say Amir Khan, good actor. Okay, perfectionist. So you respect that person. Okay, affective part, you like the acting, okay. See, sometimes what happens is you might know that the person acts in a good way, but you might not like them. Okay, so you like this actor. Then what? Last thing, behavior. You will go and watch the movie, like first day, first show, or you will watch, let's say, 2 shows back to back if you are a big fan. But the issue is situation. How will you react now? Or how will you act? If you don't have exam on other day, you will go. If you have, let's say, board exams on the other day, on the next day, or on the day the movie is releasing, then you will not go for the first day, first show, right? And then you will curse the movie people that why are you releasing it on a exam date. Okay, so this is how you understand this. Please do remember this because this is very important. Okay, because it is applicable in many case studies, how you will change the behavior. Okay, so this reminds me of another example. Let's take the odd even scheme. Earlier people were quite against it. I am telling this example because this will make you realize how you can change the attitude of people. Okay, so in the cognitive part, they told people that you can Why odd even is good? Because it is actually good for the GDP, it is actually good for environment, it is good for your children's health and so on. Okay, your parents' health, your own health. Okay, then the effective. Okay, here they told, here what they did, one good thing, that whenever a person was caught flouting the norm or the rule of the day, what they did was they gave them flowers and then they requested them to please follow the rules. So this changed their feeling towards odd even scheme. Okay, Hriday Parivartan, as Gandhiji said. Okay, this was very innovative. In the behavioral component, they need something. Okay, like what? Like go by cabs, share cabs. Okay, go by public transport. Okay, herein Delhi government requested the cab aggregators like Uber, Ola to not have surge pricing during peak hours. Okay, some things like this, and they increase the frequency of public buses, right? So such things can be done, and this led to actual behavior where people actually followed the rules. Okay, and their attitude also changed. Okay, their belief towards the odd even scheme also changed. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. This is quite important. Please remember that this is very important. Okay, because it will help you solve case studies wherein you have to change the behavior or even attitude of somebody. You can do this in a CAB way. You make them first think rationally about it, then you make them feel about it, okay, positively, then you change the behavior. Simple. Okay, now we come to strong versus weak attitude. Okay, strong attitude is when all of the three parts are in congruence, that is, all are agreeing with each other. Weak attitude is wherein some part is not basically incongruence. I'll give you an example. If a person wants to be honest, they know logically it is correct, they feel good about it, they want to do it. Okay, but in the past they have seen that it has not resulted in good results for somebody else. So that is a weak attitude. Okay, and if this thing has worked for them, let's say they were a whistleblower and it worked out well, then it will turn into an attitude, strong attitude. Another example which you can take about cake. Cognitive, you know it is full of sugar, but effectively you feel very good about it, you want to eat it. Okay, so behavior will be, last time you ate it, okay, this time let's not eat it. Okay, so this is a weak attitude towards it. Just an example. Okay, so this shows us what, that not always attitude leads to some action. Okay, even if you feel strongly about some action, something, like let's say a chocolate cake. Okay, if you feel strongly about chocolate cake and just because of, let's say you are on a strict diet, you will not go for it. So action does not always lead to, a good attitude or a positive attitude or whatever attitude does not always lead to the action. Okay, all right, I hope you have understood this. Okay, with this we move on to the next topic, which is functions of attitude. Okay, where attitude can help us. That is the, basically it means the role of attitude in our life. Okay, so first we'll start with the okay, actually there are 4 functions of attitude. Okay, we'll see them one by one. The first one we are going to study is the utilitarian. Okay, so basically it focuses on how the value that we have can lead to an attitude which will benefit us. Okay, basically it provides an approach to life. Okay, which tells us that we can do something or not do something. Basically it will lead to reward. Okay, so it provides us with an approach to life, okay, which help us avoid some tendencies, and it helps us to gain rewards and avoid punishment. Okay, so utilitarian approach. What is the utility of attitude? Its utility is to help us gain some rewards. Examples, you can say that in UPSC interview, okay, they ask you a question on dowry and you pretend, mark my words, pretend to be against dowry or corruption, okay, to get more marks. Okay, just an example. Okay, another example can be during election time. During the election time, politicians basically favor the, let's say, downtrodden or the Dalits. Okay, but you and I both know that after election they forget everybody. Okay, so for the election purposes, it is a utilitarian function for them. Okay, all right. Let's move to the ego defense function. This basically, this attitude helps people preserve their self-image. That's it. Okay, preserve their self-image or their self-esteem. Okay, for example, if a person is not able to clear an exam, they can blame it on many things like luck factor, or basically if they got less marks in an interview, they can blame it on the board. Okay, something or the other that preserves their self-esteem. Okay, so ego defense function is an attitude that can help people protect their self-esteem. Okay, so this shields from this acts as a shield against people's own failings. Okay, another example can be of smokers. They justify smoking because they say that it's a positive thing. Okay, it helps them relax and all. Okay, so they might know that this is harmful for the health in the long run. Then they also, if you say this to them, then they say ki, who wants to live that long, we are all going to die anyway, you know, we are all going to die sick, and so on. Okay, so they try to justify their behavior, okay, by having this attitude towards smoking, okay, or towards clearing and not clearing an exam. Okay, next we'll go to knowledge function. Basically, it's the human behavior that we want to basically predict. Okay, we want to predict and control the future, sort of. Okay, so we want to predict and control the future. For that, what we will do? We'll form some attitude towards people. Okay, for let's say there's a good brand. Okay, for example, it can be Gucci. Okay, so their purses are very famous and so on, their accessories and all that. Okay, so if you have a loyalty towards that brand, it makes easier for you to make a decision. Like if you are going for shopping, you will go and buy Gucci products. Okay, similarly, if you have a attitude towards Pakistan, okay, and knowledge function would be that attitude will tell you that Pakistan does not reciprocate us in steps that we take for friendship and all. Okay, like bus diplomacy was started. It was we were given Kargil in return. Okay, so and so on. So, and another theme which was like our prime minister called them for oath ceremony. Okay, then we got some more attacks like Uri and all. So basically, it helps you analyze future decisions. It helps you take decisions, certain decision, and avoid certain decisions. So knowing this attitude helps in predicting and controlling. Okay, and this is also a sort of shortcut. Okay, shortcut in the sense you don't have to research a lot. See, IB, RAW, they will obviously give you detailed papers why you should not go ahead with Pakistan. But if you have this attitude, already it will serve you as a shortcut that it is not going to work. Like if with your friends also, somebody might be a vegetarian, so you are not going to order non-veg, okay, because that will spoil the party for that person. Okay, so this is the knowledge function of the attitude. All right, so it helps you gain the knowledge of what to expect if you take some decision. Okay, then we come lastly to value expressive. Okay, this is very simple. This basically helps people in establishing their identity for themselves and for others. Okay, this helps in expressing the values you have to people. Okay, you can express your values to people, and that is one of the function of attitude. How? We'll see that Mahatma Gandhi, after Chauri Chaura incident, he withdrew non-cooperation movement. Okay, so why that was so? Because he had an attitude, negative attitude towards violence. Okay, so he expressed this by withdrawing the NCM. Okay, I hope you got it. So the attitude that he had was expressed by some action, and that attitude had the value, that is negative attitude towards violence. Okay, so it helps you express yourself. Okay, now there is one example which I would like to tell you about. Let's say khadi. Okay, this will function as, here we have utilitarian. Okay, this will function as utilitarian and value expressive. How? See, in utilitarian, let's take an example of politician again during an election. That way the politician will support khadi if that area demands it. Okay, that means if in that area there are many people who work in khadi industries, that person will support khadi industries in that area. Okay, after the election, you and I both know what happens. In value expressive, if a person buys khadi products, they are expressing that they want Swadeshi products. Okay, so what I am trying to say is, an attitude is not that it can be only knowledge one, okay, or value expressive one, or a utilitarian one. Okay, so it can be that one attitude serves two functions. Okay, so this topic is over. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, now we will study about stereotypes, prejudice and discrimination. This is a very important form of part of attitude. Okay, we'll see how it links with attitude. Okay, step by step we'll study each one of them and see via examples, individual examples, and in the end I would take one full example which will explain the relation between all of the three. Okay, so let's start with stereotyping or stereotype. So stereotype is a belief towards some group. Okay, it's a belief towards some group. Okay, this can be positive or a negative belief. Okay, it can be both, like some people are good or some people are bad. Just giving you a general example, we'll see the concrete example just now. So it's a belief that we have about some group of people. Okay, here it's a keyword that it is an oversimplified generalization. That means we form a general perception towards a group of people, and which may not even be true. It's oversimplified. That means if you find that one woman out of 10 or one woman out of, let's say, 2 women out of 10, okay, drove car badly in your experience, you will say all women are bad drivers. So that is an oversimplified generalization. Generalization means you do not care about the particular instances. You just say that if your experience was bad once, you say all is bad. Okay, so for example, old people, many people have this, let's say, generalization that they are incompetent. Okay, their time has gone, they are no more competent enough to do any work, stuff like this. Then some people think that French people are the most romantic group of people. Okay, so such things are nothing but generalization. Okay, there might be possibility that many old people are competent still. As you can see, many politicians run for elections even well into their 70s and 80s. French people, there might be many people who might be not so romantic. Okay, French people only. Okay, so stereotype is oversimplified generalization about a group of people. Okay, but these things guide our action. okay, towards people from that group. This is important. So stereotype leads to some action. We'll see how it leads to. Okay. Now this is a part of cognition part, that is we have read about ABC or CAB model. It's the part of cognition. Okay. So basically if in one line I have to say something about stereotyping, it's about how do I label a person. Like I talked about women as good drivers or bad drivers, many people label them as bad drivers, but that is not so. Actually, that one of the reason that happens because women don't learn it from the childhood. Boys do learn it from the childhood. Okay, so if women also learn from childhood, there are many women I have met in my personal life who drive very well. Okay, so why they do so? Because they have been trained since at the same speed and same level as the boys. Okay, all right, so let's move on to prejudice. Okay, it is a negative attitude, mostly negative attitude, okay, which is not justified, again towards the group of people. That's it. Okay, but it is an emotional response. In stereotype you just label a person, like woman is a bad driver, or people from lower caste are not clean. Okay, that's a label you give them. But after that, when you start hating women drivers or start hating people from lower caste, that becomes prejudice. Basically prejudice matlab you judge them before having clear facts. Okay, so it can take the form of anger. You can get angry, like I just said, you started hating them. Okay, you can also then that also results on bullying them. That is an action that will lead to later, but you will get angry. You might act on that anger and become a bully towards them. Okay, you can also hate homosexuals, for example. Many people have hatred toward homosexuals. Okay, they think they are not natural. Okay, so basically it is a prejudgment originating outside actual experience. Okay, you might feel that about them, and it is not necessary that that has been your experience. You just feel them about them, that hatred. Okay, so in the CAB model, it is the part of A, affection, the emotional component. Okay, and in one line if I have to summarize it, how do I feel about the person? So sorry, spelling is wrong here. How do I feel about the person? Okay, so example I have given it over here: hatred towards homosexual. Okay, then hating towards women drivers. Okay, all right, let's move on to discrimination. Now this is the action part. Okay, this is the behavioral part. So it is a behavior, negative behavior towards member of the group. Okay, why? Because they belong to that group where towards which you have a prejudice. Okay, so prejudice is a biased thinking. Prejudice is biased thinking against a group. Okay, but discrimination is actual action. Okay, this is also biased belief. Okay, so this is the part of behavior. Okay, now again if I have to summarize, how do I act towards a person? Okay, now in the CAB model, like I just mentioned, C part, the cognition part, you form stereotypes over there, okay, from your beliefs. Then the affection part, wherein you have emotions, you form prejudice, okay, and favor some group or not favor some group. In the behavior part, you actually discriminate. Okay, that's the action part, like bullying. We'll see one full example which connects all these three. Okay. Okay, so before studying these codes, let me just tell you about that example. See, if someone is basically casteist, okay, towards a caste, basically they look down towards that caste. So in stereotype, what will happen? The person will think that the people in that group are not clean, okay, not worthy of even touching. Okay, this happens, right? You must have seen this. Okay, in prejudice, what will it turn out to? Feeling of hatred or something negative. So you don't like people from that caste. Okay, now what about discrimination? Can you think anything? Like if somebody from that caste applies for a job and you are the employer, okay, applied for a job in your company, you will not give that job because you will say because that person belongs to that caste. Okay, so let me repeat it again. If somebody belongs to a caste and you are not or basically you have a unfavorable attitude towards them, what will you do? First of all, you will have a stereotype that they don't keep themselves clean and all, etc. Okay, so they are not pure. Then in the prejudice part, what will happen? You will say that you don't like them if emotions come. Then the discrimination part, if somebody applies for a job, you will not give them a job. So this is the behavioral portion. Okay, so here I would like to, I hope this is clear to you. Okay, this is important because this helps you identify where your attitude can change. Okay, and it can change once the stereotype changes. Another thing about women drivers, you think that they don't drive well, then you started disliking women drivers. Okay, till in stereotype you just think about that it is basically they are a bad of bunch, sorry, bunch of bad drivers. In prejudice you say that they, I don't like them, simple si baat, I don't like them, I don't like women drivers. Okay, in discrimination you will not let your female friend drive or you will not hail a cab in which a woman is a driver. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Okay, I have written few quotes because if some essay comes or some question comes, you can write them in conclusion or you can write some point from that topic. Okay, Voltaire said prejudice is what fools use for a reason. Basically it means that what logical people actually know what is reason. Okay, prejudice people think prejudice is the reason. Okay, so sorry, foolish people think prejudice is the reason. Okay, logical people know what is reason, but foolish people think that prejudice can take the place of reason in arguments. Okay, William Hazlitt said prejudice is the child of ignorance. Okay, I will not explain this to you because this is our question for today. So this will be the practice question which we will discuss in the next lecture. This is quite important, that is why I want to discuss this as a full question itself. Okay, all right, so this is all for this session. Okay, let's just recap it quickly. First we discussed the question by the it was the quote of Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, it was asked in mains 2017. Okay, so we first saw the introduction about attitude, what is it, what it means, we saw its features. Okay, then we saw what it is not. Okay, then we saw the structure of attitude or content of attitude. We saw the CAB model, or you can call it as an ABC model, wherein we saw cognition, which are beliefs. Okay, then we saw affective portion, which is emotions. Okay, then the behavior, which is actual behavior. But we also studied that after the attitude plus situation leads to behavior. This is very important. Okay, then we understood how with many examples how the CAB model can be used. I also applied it to odd even scheme. Okay, we saw what are strong and weak attitudes. When there is a congruence between all the three, C, A and B, then that becomes strong attitude. Then we came to functions of an attitude, how it helps us in real life. We saw 4 parts: utilitarian, ego defense function, knowledge function, value expressive. Okay, then we saw examples also for each and everything. Okay, then we came to stereotype, prejudice, discrimination. This is a part of CAB model itself, that is why we had to do this today. Okay, we saw the definition and we understood by examples. Then we took and then we saw how it fits in the CAB model. Then we took two examples wherein I explained you that what are stereotypes, prejudices and discrimination. Then we saw two quotes which can be used, okay, and one of them will be our practice question. Okay, in the next class we are just going to discuss weakness of attitude and social and political attitudes and so on, depending on the time which we have next time. Okay. Okay, so this is the question for the next lecture. Okay, this is the, we'll discuss this in the next lecture, but you please write this, okay, so that when I discuss it helps you, actually helps you. I keep reminding you, please write it, because mains is nearing and result has also been declared. So I hope people who are watching this have cleared it. People who did not make it, or some of your friends might not have made it, we have no other option to move forward. Okay, we have to work on our mistakes and then see where we can strengthen ourselves and do a bit of practice where we lack, then move ahead. Okay, UPSC is an unpredictable game, but that doesn't mean that with right guidance you cannot achieve it. People do achieve it every year, you know about them. Okay, you read their success stories. It's just an examination at the end, and unpredictability is there, but you can reduce it with good preparation and good guidance. Okay, this is one of the few exams in the world where good guidance plays equally important role with the good preparation. Okay, some exams can be cleared with good preparation, but UPSC is such an exam that we need good guidance also. Okay, what to read, what not to read, and so on. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, please practice answer writing so that you can actually put the concepts down on the paper. Okay, so prejudice is the child of ignorance. Discuss with examples. Okay, we will see the answer next time. Okay, so thank you everybody. That's all for this lesson. I hope you have understood what we have seen today. If there is any doubt, please let us know in the comment section. Okay, all right. Thank you for your patience. See you in the next session. Bye everyone.